Hi, I'm Vicky. Welcome to Vicky Creations. I'm taking part in Quiltmas 2025 this year, and there are 12 sewing, quilting bloggers taking part, showing you some great projects that you can sew along to or enter the competition to win. So to enter the competition you need the secret word from each video. I am making a dinner table runner for Christmas Day, which I'll show you how to make. Do watch along for the other channels to see all the wonderful projects. They will be very varied in style, I'm sure. So my table runner is inspired by baubles and my love of printing. You can skip the printing part if that's your preference and just buy some pretty fabric, so don't worry about that. So let's get started. I'm starting with printing some fabric. I like to use what I've got, so I've got some stencils here and some acrylic paint. You can use acrylic paint on fabric. I mean, it's not ideal for something that you're going to wash and wear, but for something as a table runner that has intermittent use, then it's absolutely fine. So these are the variety of stencils I've got, and I'm going to create a variety of patterns using gold and silver acrylic. So I'm going to apply that through the stencil with a sponge. So the more paint I apply, the thicker the result. So some I'm applying really thin, some a bit thicker, just to vary the pattern. You can buy a fabric medium to add to the acrylic if it's something you're going to be washing very regularly and you want a softer finish, but for this table runner I've not bothered with that. If you don't have stencils or you don't want to paint your own fabric, that's not a problem. You can just continue this project a little bit further along. So I'm just printing some more patterns here. You can of course just buy fabric that's pre-printed in patterns you like. That's not a problem at all. It's just like I like to use what I've got, and this is what I've got, a variety of oranges and reds base fabrics that I'm just going to glitz up for Christmas. As I say, this table runner is inspired by baubles. So I'm just experimenting here and showing you different stencils and the results I can get. Here are some of the fabrics I've printed. Just thought I'd show you. Just different effects here. Particularly like this one. This is my favourite. So now I've got my fabrics ready to make the baubles. I have got some bonder web, but there are other forms of fusible web out there, such as steamer seam and heat and bond, etc. I'm drawing on the paper side using round objects I've got around home. I mean, I think these vary sort of between a 5-inch diameter and 1-inch diameter. I'm just creating a variety of circles. Sorry, excuse the head, that's a common issue in my videos. So once you've drawn your circles on the paper side of your fusible web, I'm going to iron it onto the back of the printed fabrics. So once that's ironed on and cooled down, then we're going to cut out the shapes, the circles. And I'm going to do this for quite a few different sizes on the different fabrics. So I've got 5 different base fabrics and print designs that I'm going to play with onto the table runner base fabric, of which I've chosen black. Obviously you can make your table runner any size you like. The general rule of thumb is for it to be about 1/3 of the width of the table. I think mine's narrower than that, to be honest. And I've just gone for a size that fits my table. But there are all sorts of sizes out there. So once you've got your circles cut, play around with the design. So you're running your circles down the centre of your table runner in an uneven, wavy line, if that makes sense. Once you're satisfied with your layout, you're going to peel the paper off and iron the circles into place onto your table runner base fabric and adhere them. Up, we're going to make our quilt sandwich. So you're going to have the back of your table runner, your whatever you've placed in between, and the top of your table runner, and then you are going to hold it in place. I've used a spray adhesive just to temporarily hold it, and then I am quilting using a short stitch going around the edge of each circle as shown. The table runner by binding it. So I've cut 2.5 inch wide strips of fabric. Fold your strips of fabric in half and press. Place them along the raw edge of the table runner. To start with, we are going to sew all of 5 inches 10 centimeters with it opened out with the pressed seam at the beginning, and this will finish off beautifully when we get all the way round. Close your binding back along the fold and stitch along the edge until you get to the corner. At the corner you need to stop your seam allowance width off the edge so that we can create a nice turning on the corner as shown. Then stitching from the seam allowance in, go all the way around. When you get back to your starting point, place your fabric in as shown, pin in place, and then stitch down the side there. Then we're going to give it a very good press and fold the binding over to the wrong side. Pin in place, and then you're going to stitch in the ditch from the front, catching the binding at the back all the way round until you have finished your table runner. So this is day 6 of the Quiltmas 2025. This is a finished table runner. Don't forget to check out day 7 with the Siberian wind. Enter the competition. My magic word is dinner. Thanks for watching.